You are listening to the Savage FINcast, episode 31, 196 European Bible Stories.
Chicago. A criminal mastermind called Overlord held our city in his terrifying grip. Ordinary cops were losing the battle against Overlord's super freaks and mutants. Then, a miracle happened. When I found him, he had no memory of his past. I helped him find an identity and a life. Now we have a fighting chance. Now we have the dragon.
This is the Savage FINcast, the show that does the stuff that does the thing. I am Jim Purcell.
I'm Craig Olson.
Raven Perez.
And we are back for probably a most amazing of episodes. We are going to have, again, as we like to do, the one and only Erik Larsen.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to him. A lot of crazy new things coming up on the horizon.
It's going to be a juicy interview.
Scoops. Wait, something about ice cream. I'm bad at this.
2 scoops.
What is going on?
I'm trying to make an analogy. It's not coming out. Move on.
Oh.
Moving along to news.
Well, no, before we get to news, anything exciting going on, gentlemen?
Who wants to lead this?
Go for it, Raven.
I just don't have the largest of news for myself. However, I did want to put in, I never like to use the show for plugging for myself, but I am very proud of my friend for taking a Michel Fiffe style plunge here into professional comics. So I got a friend who is going all out. He's doing a pay-to-read site called locusgodslayer.com, LOCUSGODSLAYER.com. And he's even got a super cheap option, just $2 a month, but it is pay to read. But he's really busting his ass, and this guy is a very, very professional comic artist. He's never missed a deadline in the last 7 years. Even through dental surgery, moving, he never misses a deadline. So he's awesome. I'm helping him with extra content. It's really a fun thing. And if you don't know, or you're afraid, or you don't never heard of this guy, he has 5 years worth of material that he put up for free that you can read, like over 20 issues. So there's no reason not to try it out. If you like it, like I said, he's taken the plunge here and really putting himself on the line for this. So that's the only reason I was like, I kind of got to say something. So super proud of him. I think anybody would like it.
Nice. I just had my birthday not too long ago, and I got volume 2 of John Byrne's Fantastic Four omnibus, which I loved his run. I had volume 1, so it was kind of cool to get volume 2. And these things, as you know, those Marvel omnibuses are pretty hefty, but it's a lot of that I had not read before or seen, and it's just good times. I love when Fantastic Four was done by Byrne and Kirby and Simonson, so fun times. I also got the James Sticko's Wonton Soup collection. I don't know if any of you guys have seen that.
I saw the cover on your Facebook.
Yeah, vaguely familiar to me.
It's a fun, crazy little book. I think it's one of his earlier works that were republished, but it's kind of like deals with, I don't know, it's kind of like an Iron Chef space adventure thing. So the guy's cooking with all sorts of the alien ingredients and, fighting off space ninjas and stuff like that. It's just weird, like perfectly meant for comics. Anything can happen out in space. Craziness. If you're a fan of Sticko, you'd love it. But yeah,
if you aren't, get hip to him. He's awesome.
Yeah, he is. Really is. But yeah, that's keeping me busy lately, reading through those books and just enjoying them.
Happy belated birthday.
Yes, happy
Thanks.
birthday. I actually just had a birthday. But
What?
I didn't get
Happy birthday to you.
But I didn't get anything.
What?
I had a bit of a disappointing birthday this year, but a lot of shit's been going on. My sister just had a baby. My parents just moved house.
You're disappointed in that?
No, I'm thrilled about
I'm just kidding.
It's just
Sorry.
not much time to myself this year.
Yeah. So what's new going on?
Oh,
besides that,
I've
we need
been,
something positive here.
Oh, well. Last week I've been completely obsessed with Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Legend of Korra series.
Okay.
And I watched that before I ever watched Avatar. So this last week I picked up all 3 box sets and I've been marathoning them over the last week, which I never do anymore. And it's pretty good. I like Legend of Korra more, but it's definitely good.
Everybody loves that damn thing. Other than that movie, I hear it's all amazing.
Oh, it is.
The live movie or?
Oh yeah, the Last Airbender by M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong was not a good movie.
But the show, I hear, is AAA stuff.
Oh yeah, it's good.
I know what the character looks like, but I don't know anything.
If you guys, I won't. Legend of Korra has a lot more similarities to superhero structure. The Avatar is like the embodiment of all the elements, and it's almost like a Superman type archetype because the Avatar type character in Avatar: The Last Airbender is Aang, and in Legend of Korra it's Korra. They're sort of like the all powerful, protect the world type character.
Mm-hmm.
And the world building in both series is pretty good. I like the world of Legend of Korra more because it's got this 1920s pulp adventure vibe going on, whereas Avatar: The Last Airbender, which takes place like 70 years before, is more like what's the word I'm looking for? Medieval China type world.
Nice.
Which is why I like it a little less because the world doesn't appeal to me as much, but it's good. It tackles some mature themes for a quote-unquote kids show.
Yeah. Cool.
I've heard nothing but praise for it.
It's good. I recommend it.
Nice.
Well, happy belated birthday to you.
Thank you.
Shall we jump into the news?
News items.
One item, but
one
it's
news
a doozy.
item, but it is a freaking doozy.
Megaton bomb.
Image Comics just announced the upcoming release of giant-sized Kung Fu Bible Stories, which is a limited edition treasury-sized anthology, which is edited by Erik Larsen and Bruce Timm. And it's going to feature original stories by Erik Larsen, Bruce Timm, Adam Warren, Tom Scioli, Ryan Otley, Andy Kuhn, and Arthur Adams.
Ta-da!
Which is pretty much a who's who of amazing comic creators.
Yep.
Unfortunately, or fortunately, or unfortunately, it's only going to be available at the San Diego Comic-Con for $20 at the Image Comics booth. For now. We have it on semi-decent good authority that they'll probably have extra copies left, and they'll be made available afterwards.
Yeah. So, and we'll have Eric on later on in the show. We can ask him more about it and find out what's going on with this thing.
Well,
it sounds awesome.
Nasty.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this on your iPhone at the San Diego Comic-Con, it's booth 2729. Get on over there.
Cool. Well, that's our news, right? We don't have anything else going on, but it's a big one. Like I said, we'll talk to Eric more about it when we get him on in a little while. But first up, let's do the trivia question. Last episode 30's question, we said, with the exception of Rita Metermaid and Alex Wilde, name another female character that Dragon dated who eventually ended up in a relationship with another superhero. Did you guys get this one?
Hell no.
Well, I got it. I thought I knew who it was, and I was right, but I thought there was another character. I thought it was a trick question, but I apparently was wrong.
Well, the answer was Claire Bono, or however you pronounce it. But she appeared in issue 37 and 38, if you remember, when Dragon and Rapture had just split up, and it was during the whole Mars Attacks invasion storyline. She was in those couple of issues. It was kind of like a fling. And then later, Robert Kirkman wrote her into the Super Patriot America's Fighting Force miniseries he did, where she began dating Super Patriot. And then I think in maybe the series after the fourth Super Patriot series, he had them get married, I believe.
And they had them have, and eventually they had kids in the weirdest twist of weirdness in the entire Savage Dragon book.
Yeah.
Remember, Liberty and Justice died, so he had kids, and he named them Liberty and Justice.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest goddamn fucking thing.
In memory.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, do you remember? I think in America's Fighting Force, like Claire Bono was like friends with Invincible's mom, like Debbie Grayson or something.
I haven't read it in a while, but I want to say you're right about that.
Yeah. Anyway, so we got a couple. Oh, you gonna say something?
I was gonna say I thought there were two other possibilities here, but I think they may have been disqualified. In one case, Jennifer Murphy got into a relationship with Hercules, but I think she was an alternate reality Jennifer Murphy, so she probably doesn't count.
Right. Yeah.
And what was the name of that stalker Dragon had early on that thought that he saved her, but Star did it?
Oh, Amanda.
Hug
and kiss.
I wasn't sure if she actually dated Dragon or not.
When he busted, no, she just stalked him. Remember? And he was like, he busted into the bar and he was like, has anyone seen Amanda hug and kiss?
It was Amanda Love. I need Amanda Love.
Was it Amanda Love?
I think so. I need to find Amanda Love, right?
Oh, maybe I'm confusing Simpsons with Savage Dragon or something.
I was going to say, I think Amanda Hug and Kiss is the way it normally goes. I feel like the character was Amanda Love. He's like, I'm looking for Amanda Love.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Everyone drops their beers and runs. That was a great scene. But no, I don't think that he ever hooked up with her. But I don't know. Anyway.
20 years.
Yeah. We had two responses. John Bond, I guess.
That sounds right.
He wrote in, Claire Bono, great work on the podcast, the obligatory praise.
The obligatory thank you.
And he said, Savage Dragon 149, second print, if possible. I skipped that one somehow, so that's what he wants if he wins. Simon Millette, who you know him as the guy that's doing the little strips right in the back of the new issues, the Average Dragon strips.
Average Dragon.
Yeah. He wrote in, he said, hey guys, this is a tricky question, and I'm compelled to try out because 149 is the only issue I never got my hands on. He said, the realities make it difficult, but Jennifer Murphy dated Hercules. Rapture dated Skullface, and I don't remember that for some reason.
Yeah, I want to say it might have been before she met Dragon and before he lost his face.
Maybe,
Not sure.
The Image universe, but I can't remember. But our Dragon hadn't been with either of those two, so it has to be Claire Bono, now married to Super Patriot. So both guys who wrote in were correct. I flipped the coin, and Simon Millette won. So Simon, you get the rare second printing cover of Savage Dragon 149, which features that retro trade dress. John, stay tuned for future FINcasts because I do have another copy of that second print of 149 to give away down the line. So you'll get another shot at it, bud.
Simon confessed to me that he considers his dragon knowledge to be second only to Gavin. Encyclopedia.
Well, it makes sense that he knew that Rapture dated Skullface, which I don't have a recollection of. But he's not Skullface is not a hero anyway. But
just throwing that out there.
Simon, do us a favor and write in or tweet to us what issue that was in where that was mentioned. I'm just curious to look that up. It's a cool little tidbit I did not know. So this episode's question, for this month's trivia, we're going to tie it in with the recent announcement of the giant size Kung Fu Bible story collection. And the question is, name a cartoonist besides Erik Larsen or Bruce Timm that is participating in the giant size Kung Fu Bible Stories collection that also participated in Larsen and Timm's other project, the Fantastic Four, the world's greatest comic magazine. So if you know a cartoonist that was involved in both, send us your response to SAVAGEFINcast@gmail.com. We'll read your answers and any other babble you want to include on the next episode of FINcast, and we will choose one winner to win a brand new sealed Fantastic Four World's Greatest Comic Magazine hardcover collection.
Just like the one from your birthday.
Yep.
It all comes together.
No, it's not an omnibus like my birthday. I'm not giving away.
Okay.
Jesus, you trying to make me poor? No, this is the collected world's greatest comic magazine that Larsen and Tim did.
Oh, okay.
They tried to kind of finish up Kirby's run, and it's a pretty cool collection, and they try to ape Kirby's style, and it just looks neat. But yeah, it's a brand new sealed hardcover collection. Could be yours. All you have to do is answer our trivia question. So there's that.
Sweet like honey.
Well, this episode, we have got a doozy of an interview for you, so we're just going to get right to that. So we here at the Savage FINcast have a very special guest with us today, one that we've had on several times before. You may have heard of him, the one and only Erik Larsen.
Woohoo!
Welcome, Erik.
You're going to insert uproarious clapping there, right?
Yeah, we'll have that on our soundboard.
Oh, great.
So you just came back from a whole tour of, at least a couple of countries in Europe, a couple of Comic-Cons.
I started in Glasgow, Scotland, then went to Paris, France, and then went to London, England. So I guess that's 3.
Did you get many Judge Dredd sketch requests?
I got 0 Judge Dredd sketch requests, which was awesome.
Not a fan, or just don't know how to draw?
It's just, there's a whole learning curve that I'm not really. I don't really like to do, first sketch ever of this guy for the public. Like, oh wow, look at that, he's terrible. Well, I had no practice whatsoever, suckers.
Someday I will get one.
There you go.
You sound so excited.
And someday I'll be like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's not happening for you. What do you know?
You don't use the wonder of the internet for infinite reference material when you sketch?
Yeah, the thing is, I had no connections there whatsoever, except when I was in my hotel. So I was just, that's all I got.
Yeah. So, have you been to all of those countries before, or is any of those
0 of those countries?
Really?
Yeah.
It
it was a real leap of faith just getting on the airplane.
Yeah.
In all honesty, it was like, what the hell am I doing here? This could go all kinds of wrong.
Do you get like a guide or anything when you get there, or is it just?
Yeah, there were supposed to be connection people along the way, and there was, so it really worked out well.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where after the fact you're like, wow, I really could have gone quite wrong, and I'm lucky it didn't.
Did you get to do any sightseeing, or was it all just
It was quite sightseeing packed, actually. That was kind of part of the deal going into it was, I want to have a little bit of time so I can see this stuff. I'd gone to Belgium the year before and really didn't have much in the way of time, and that kind of sucked. So I was hoping this year that it would be a little bit different and not have that be the case, and so it was, and it was good.
That's cool. Did you get to go to any comic shops or anything? Check out the comic scenes.
A little bit here and there. I mean, it just kind of depended on who I was hanging out with at the time. I got to meet Gavin, which was nice.
That's right. Yeah.
Got to meet Jerome Wiki. I don't know if you pronounce that right, but I go with that. He's been on another guy who's been on the message boards, and good guy. We got to pal around with a few folks along the way. So, life is good.
Yeah. How would you compare like the comic conventions over there versus some of the American ones over here? Are they pretty much similar? Fans are pretty much the same wherever you go, or is there more enthusiasm?
Yeah, it's no different. It really isn't. As much as you might like to think, oh my gosh, it must be crazy different. It's like, no, it really is.
Yeah.
It's crazy the same.
It seems like somewhere like France, though, they're more open to, of course, like the European style comics, and it seems like they have more enthusiasm for comics in general, just different kind of types of comics. Do you find that, or?
To a degree. I mean, their comics are really great. So that can be a little intimidating, but it's like, holy crap, you guys really know what the hell you're doing over there.
Yeah.
Shit, I am a pretender. Yeah, I mean, once you go in, and I went into one of those places and looked at all the various European albums and stuff, and I was like, holy crap, this is hardcore stuff. There's guys there that really, really, really know how to draw. And, in stark contrast with people who don't really know how to draw that well, it's kind of a little intimidating, but, whatever.
Well, a lot of it's painted, right? A lot of the artwork.
It's various things. There's guys who do line work that's being colored, and there's kind of everything in between. It's all over the place.
Anything new on your radar because of the trip?
Not really. Not exactly. No. I mean, there's stuff that it just depends on the scene. Some guys are. I did pick up a bunch of stuff, but it's not like I'm gonna go. Oh, I'm gonna suddenly know how to draw better now. It's like,
right.
There are limits to my superpowers here. I like that.
I gotta imagine there were a lot of fans though that were excited to see you just because you don't get over there, and
very much so. It was kind of a, oh my god, this is my one chance to get a commission. So
right. So I'll get Savage Dragon with a harmonica.
Yeah, I'm gonna get. Yeah, it's like, so let's get that going on. Yeah, there's a bit of that.
You were posting, I think, all of the commissions that you drew pretty much on Twitter or Facebook, and it was pretty interesting to see. And of course, you're going to get the guys that all want Spider-Man or Savage Dragon because those are your that's what you're known for. But I know, like you were saying on Twitter, sometimes guys just say, hey, give me Savage Dragon playing a musical instrument, or they just want something.
A lot of guys want something that's going to be just different. Just I think if you go, I want Savage Dragon dressed as a cop jumping out at me. I'll do it, and it'll be outstanding. But at the same time, it's like there's not hundreds and hundreds of different ways to do that. It's really gonna be similar to this or that.
Right.
So guys are just coming in going, give me something that I've never seen before, which is another one that people will do, and then you go, don't make it so broad that
it figured they're getting
stymied here. Like,
they're gonna spend that money. That you want Dragon with a musical instrument? Well, just pick the instrument. It's like
either that. It's like, or provide some frickin' reference if you're just gonna go there. It's like, how many instruments can you just draw out of your head?
Right, exactly.
Wood block
at a convention. I'm not sitting there going, wait a minute, anybody got a musical instrument around here? I need reference.
Hence the harmonica.
Say triangle woodblock harmonica.
Yeah,
that's it.
How many sketches or commissions were you doing per day over there? I mean, it seemed like there were at least almost 9 or 10 a day or something like that.
Yeah, it was something like that. It just depended on where I ended up, and like the first day Glasgow, I did 14.
Holy crap!
Which
is that? Are you bringing them back to the hotel room and finishing it up?
No, I try not to do homework.
Right.
What has happened on some occasions, it'll be I'll actually end up doing them the next morning, but they got committed to being done that day, and so it's like I say 14. What it really meant is I did 12, and then the next day, morning, I got up and did the last 2, and then I didn't really have that. It was weird because it's like on the second day, I think 2 people asked me to do commissions, and I think it was because everybody wanted to make sure that they got theirs and they got their first in line, and so the next day it was like, we've already got ours, so we're good.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it makes sense seeing that, you're hardly ever over there, and they don't know when the next time you'll be there.
They want to make sure you got that carpal tunnel early.
I want to make sure that when you're crippled and incapable of drawing, that I got mine. So, screw y'all.
And so, how was meeting Gavin for the first time? I mean, we all know Gavin, and for the listeners, probably know who he is too. Gavin Higginbotham, who's become kind of your fact checker, editor.
Yeah, no, it's
helper
great.
outer.
He's a good guy. So no complaints there. There was. Oh my God, the BO is amazing. No.
Well, I mean, it had to have been pretty exciting for him.
No,
He's
it was
probably
actually, I think it was probably cool for him, and I think it was certainly cool for me because it's like it's nice to bump into guys who really do give a shit, and that's
right.
And it's that was kind of the cool part of a lot of it was just meeting people that are really super into it.
Yeah.
Because it's like I've kind of met all those guys here. And so over there you got a whole different group of guys, and some of who are like, I've been waiting to meet you for 20 years or 30 years. And that's something.
One of the pictures, I think it was, again, on Twitter or Facebook, was some guy had an actual the Finn kind of logo tattooed to his forearm. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, this guy's got to go on. It's like, wow, I'm not doing that. I mean, I'll have the book and all, but just seriously, come on, draw a line somewhere.
Okay, on my flesh.
I want this to be part of me forever. It's always weird when you get some guy who gets a tattoo like too soon, and then the book gets canceled, and it's been like off the racks for 20 years, and he is like, yeah, it was for a book called Wild Dog, and I really liked that book, and it came out, and it's like, your tattoo requires this explanation because you just jumped on it immediately. Oh, that one's going to be good, and that's going to be around forever.
Well, I guess of all the comics he could have picked that aren't, Marvel or DC, I guess he picked the right one.
Oh yeah, really?
Right horse on that one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it was awesome. I had a fun time, and in France they gave me wine. So,
what, at the con?
Well, it wasn't a con in France. So, what it was is there was two conventions. One was in Glasgow, and that was one weekend, and then one was in London, and that was the next weekend. So, in between the two, I went to France and did a couple of store signings. It was actually one store, but I signed there 2 days in a row.
Okay,
cool.
And he had prearranged with his customers. He'd found out from me. He was like, "How many commissions can you do a day?" It's like, I don't know, average about 10. And so he's like, "Okay." And so he already had 10 guys committed to both days, just ready to go. And it was a nice little shop, and he's a super enthusiastic guy. And so it was like, well, this is perfect. I just sit down here, and he had asked me before, what do you like to drink? And I'm not like a big drinker, but occasionally I'll be like, I'll have a glass of red wine with dinner. So I said red wine, and like 5 guys came up and gave me bottles of red wine. And during the course of the signing, he was just bringing out glass after glass of red wine. So I was like, this is the most awesome signing ever.
Those drawings get progressively sloppier.
Like, what the hell is going on here? Yeah, I mean, that was all right.
Awesome. There was a great picture with you also. It was you, I think Steve Rude and John Bogdanov. They were like sitting on the steps. It looked like you were waiting for like a car or something like that. And you guys all have your sketchbooks out, sketching away. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that was cool. I had no idea that somebody was taking a picture. I guess it's like I would have sat there with my mouth open if I did. No, but it was just just one of those things where somebody happened to be going, I gotta get this capture this Kodak moment here.
Yeah. There's a bunch of great cartoonists right there too, man. I mean, I think John's super underrated, and Steve Root is the best.
Yeah. Those guys all good. So, yeah, no joke at all.
Cool.
I love the Photoshop of Gavin's face and your face switched. Just a stroke of genius, Mark.
I didn't even realize that.
Oh, that's so funny. Dude, you got to look at it. This is Mark Welser, I guess, posted it, and it's on the Facebook thing, and I was just like, someone's like, they could be brothers. And I knew the Photoshop was coming as soon as I saw the picture, and the internet never disappoints.
Yeah, the internet really is the most awesome thing in the world, isn't it? Thank God. Thank God for the internet.
It's like you can think a thought. You can think a thought, and someone else is doing it while you're thinking it.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to do it.
Yeah, well, let somebody else do that.
Exactly.
So speaking of internet, the story broke over the internet, I think yesterday, that giant-sized Kung Fu Bible stories is going to be released at the San Diego Comic-Con.
After so many years that we've been talking about this, and good Lord, it's finally done. I mean, Bruce Timm, God bless him. He did his part of this like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I mean, he did it a lot.
I remember the hints about you working with something.
Yeah,
with Bruce.
and it's like, holy crap, he has been patient, and I've just been trying to get everybody else on board for this thing. And the unfortunate part of it was just that the parameters were so broad that I think it becomes intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the draw whatever you want kind of thing, where your mind just goes completely blank.
Yeah.
And you want to maximize, the Treasury edition size.
One is a Treasury edition, and we want, so make it all big, and it's like, well, geez, that's a hell of a lot of different things that could possibly be done. And it was, we wanted it to be people coming up with new characters and stuff like that, and and some of it, and I mean everything in there is pretty solid, so I can't complain, but it just took forever to get.
Well, I mean, you look at these names, and I mean, these are guys I want to see on a Treasury size page. Arthur Adams, Ryan Otley, Tom Sholey.
Yeah,
Tim.
There's nobody in there. Well, this guy sucks. It's like it's all good guys. Everybody did good work. No complaints there.
What are the size? Like, how many pages is each story? Are they different? Pages?
Generally, people are. I told everybody to do 8, and it's generally people stuck to that. There were some weird ones in that like Tom did 2 different things. One of which was like 2 double-page spreads. So they were like, well, this is going to screw up the pagination because everybody else is going, right-hand side, then left.
Right.
And you're showing up with these 2 things. So
that sounds like something he'd do.
Yeah. Well, actually, Arthur Adams' things ended up. He had said he would do a story, and then he totally didn't do a story. And so, what ended up with him is I just kind of called him up and said, "Pinups, do you have any single pages that I can run in here?" And he did. So his part of it is pinups, and
And
I was totally gonna call that. I was gonna say, is Arthur Adams just pinups or a story?
It needed so that I could make the pagination work, because it needed single pages that I could slip in every now and then to go, okay, yours is double page spreads. Well, let's slip this in here so that works, and then afterwards, let me slip another one in there so that I can get it back to normal.
So no fake ads or anything like that?
No fake ads. I mean, the back cover just kind of is, hey, this is all the guys who are in the book. And so it's not really a story page, but other than that, everything is either credits on the inside front cover or actual story pages.
Sweet.
Does
So,
it have that feel?
64 pages. My part is actually the longest. It's a full comic, essentially.
Nice.
It's a 20-page story.
Oh yeah.
So there's how that works, and it kind of ended up being like, well, somebody's got to do it. Work here because it's never going to get done if
Right.
nobody does. So
Is it the Scooby Doo story?
yeah,
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
breaking scoop.
yeah. No, it's that. It's that story that people have seen that thing for a while, and actually I had drawn it initially small, and then I had penciled the whole 20 pages, and then when it got closer to time that it's like, okay, you really need to start inking this, I was like, you know what, I'm going to blow this up. And so I just took it to my local Xerox place and blew it all up 143% and then traced it off gigantic so it would be on twice that paper. And that way it's like, it's going to be Treasury edition sizes. It better have just some visual stuff going on.
Now, I have a question from a technical standpoint. To blow it up, how do you ink over that, the blown up version?
You ink it on a light box. That's what you do.
Okay, so that goes right through the Bristol board?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a necessity. It was like, there's no other good way of doing this, so do it that way.
Well, I couldn't be more excited for this damn thing.
Now I'm curious, does it actually contain kung fu or Bible stories?
It does not.
Ah.
But it is giant size.
It is giant size.
It is giant size. It's got that going on.
Does it feel like the old Treasury editions? Were you able to replicate that feel? Is it on newsprint or?
It's not on newsprint. It's on better stuff because fuck it,
Right. Yeah.
They're doing better color and it just didn't seem like that made sense.
Right.
Is it like the non-glossy stuff that you did with the
no, it's
Golden
glossy
Ink
as all shit.
Oh.
It really is. Because, I mean, Bruce had hand-colored his story, and it was gorgeous, and really any other kind of color or paper would have... It just wouldn't have been as bold and bright as it was. Mm-hmm. So Tom Scioli kind of does some faux newsprint in his part, and it looks a little weird just because it's on glossy paper. But
right,
we everybody can't get their way.
Right.
Yeah.
How that works is there needs to be a little bit of okay, this can't work for everybody. But it looks great, so. I think anybody's going to complain.
So what about availability? This is a Comic-Con exclusive for now.
It is. We printed up a sizable chunk, and it's like, I can't imagine that we're going to get rid of the ridiculous amount we printed in San Diego. So if we don't, then those will be made available to comic stores, or we'll bring them to other shows or something. I can't imagine that people won't be able to get it. And if it's just flying off the shelves, it'll be like, all right, let's go back to press and do this again.
Digest size.
Yeah, this time. Extra small. Because that's the way you wanted it.
Is Otley's portion sizable, like 8 pages or?
It's 8. Everybody really does 8. The only exception to that is Arthur Adams, who does pinups, so he has 4 pages scattered throughout.
Very cool.
Cool.
Yeah, this is going to be cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, it leads off with Bruce Timm, and really I kind of ran them in the order in which everybody finished them. So it's like, all right, you're the last guy, you got the last place in the book.
Back of the book, Adams.
Yeah. The only exception was because there was the middle of the book could potentially, it's not square bound, it's saddle stitched. Mm-hmm. So because it was like, oh, this is a double page right in the middle of the book, I fudged things a little so I could have there be a double page spread in the middle of the book, so that when it opens up, it's like, oh, check
Yeah,
that.
that's gonna be awesome.
Nice.
So-
Pull it out and hang it up like a poster.
Yeah, and it's the Scooby-Doo shot that's in the middle of the book. So.
So, should we expect any other announcements from you around San Diego, or is that the big announcement? I mean, not that that's not a big announcement.
Yeah, I don't really have anything that I'm going to be trotting out. I kind of think that San Diego is a place where things can get easily lost.
Yeah.
So my tendency is, if I'm going to announce something, just wait until you got a better chance of somebody actually paying some attention.
Yeah. So you're not releasing the cover to 200 or anything like that.
No, I haven't done it yet. I need to get my act together in that department. I've just actually been kind of skipping solicitations on that just to make sure that it ends up coming out in the month that it's supposed to come out.
Yeah.
And get my act together. But I'm working on 197. Damn it, it's happening. It's all coming together.
Well,
So
Closer than ever.
let's change up gears a little bit and just talk about the new direction of Savage Dragon, because I think last time we talked to you was before 193 came out, and it's been a big change.
Yeah, I'm loving life right now. I don't know how the hell it's going over with the rest of everybody, but I'm actually at this point where I'm like, I like this better.
Yeah.
Into
Yeah.
well, that's what's important, is that you like what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I love Dragon, but it just seemed like his story had really been told, and it just seemed like it was getting tired.
Right.
And so I kind of felt like it needed to move on and find a new way, and I'm kind of happy with it. So
It's great. I mean, how have you gauged the fan reaction to that? I mean, you're talking to people at conventions and stuff. Have people been pretty positive about it, or?
generally speaking, yeah, I haven't really run into that guy yet who's just like, oh, screw you, man. I haven't run into that guy.
Did anyone request Malcolm sketches?
No.
Commissions? No.
Well, Gavin did.
And it was well, Gavin did, but that was
He doesn't count.
That was with Dragon.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, mostly not. Mostly people, when they do want Dragon, it's like, can I have Dragon in his cop uniform? It's like, wow, that's I mean, he was in that for 38 issues, and then wasn't. But that's kind of like his Superman outfit,
Yeah.
It's like people aren't saying, oh, can you do me a sketch of Clark Kent? He's so cool.
Right.
So
That USA cartoon.
damn
Damn it.
It is what it is.
It sounds like have you found your groove with Malcolm that you think, or I mean, like now that you've been drawn, Dragon's out of the picture, you've drawn him for what is it now, 3 issues without Dragon even in the book.
Yeah, it's been 3. Well, I'm on my 4th without Dragon being in the book at all. Yeah, I'm liking it.
Yeah.
I'm happy. So.
Do you find it more difficult to write Malcolm? Like Dragon was more your age, it seemed like your voice was kind of like Dragon's voice, whereas Malcolm's, a teenager. I know you have, you had 2 sons.
Yeah.
Is it?
So it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's you have to go. Okay, well, you can't be freaking Einstein here. I can't have him be. But even at this point, it's like he's 17. He is not like a kid. It's not like he's really completely ignorant of a lot of stuff. He's pretty on the ball at this point.
Yeah, right.
It's not that tough.
Do you ever forget that he has lightning powers? Sometimes I'll read the book and I'm so used to Savage Dragon, like Dragon, and some of the lightning powers. Oh yeah, I forgot he has lightning powers. Is that ever like? Do you have to think about that? Like, how would he get out of the situation because he's got powers?
Yeah, I have to remind myself of it constantly. You know, and sometimes it's just, oh, he's punching somebody. I haven't really said that he's used his lightning powers yet. I guess he'll be punching somebody and there'll be lightning dancing around while he's punching this one guy. Just to reestablish a little, sorry. I don't know.
Well, the first from 193, and we've actually read 196. You know, you have these characters, these villains that kind of pop up. They don't seem Vicious Circle related, like Tantrum or Torment. At least those two guys.
Yeah.
Is there any backstory behind them? I know they kind of get killed off, but I mean, and you might not want to tell us anyway now, but I mean, they just seem to like appear, like these guys seem to be like, they're known to be around, like the police officers know about them. Is there something connecting those guys or something like that?
Not necessarily connecting those two. There's just a lot of, you know, I mean, so many villains have appeared before that are just,
Right.
Hey, this guy's a fuck up. This guy's whatever. Tantrum was kind of my take on doing a Hulk kind of character.
Mm-hmm.
That was real, you know, because Zeke kind of talks like Hulk, but really isn't like Hulk in that he goes on rampages and does crazy shit like that. He's just sort of a big, dumb guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of wanted to go, well, what if there was like a guy who was, you know, like a Hulk where he was just dumb as a bag of hammers and he's out running around just tearing shit up for no damn good reason.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where he was about. And then the other one, I kind of was playing with the devil on one shoulder and angel on the other kind of thing.
Right.
All right, let's goof with this a little bit. Nothing is set in stone until it's set in stone in the book. So I think people kind of jump to conclusions on whether characters are alive or dead sometimes. So, you know, if nobody has said outright in the book, this character is absolutely dead, there's wiggle room.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of discussion at the end of 194 with Torment about, you know, Malcolm. You know, did he kill him, or was he just killing that bad little head part of him, or what? You know, there was...
Or was he trying to kill him and he failed completely? All we know is that he's trying to zap him at the end of it.
Well, and that's a thing.
Results can be anything.
That's a thing that you've done with Malcolm too a lot. Well, maybe not a lot, but a good amount of times that it's noticeable is where his kind of electric powers end up killing the villain. I think we saw it with War and Terror. I mean, again, we don't know if they're really dead or not. I think War and Terror we do, but Tantrum, Torment, I think there was maybe one other guy or something like that. And it just kind of sticks out that he's kind of killing villains. Is that intentional or? Well,
he's certainly intending to do it, and I think to a degree, it's like, who's gonna argue that's such a terrible thing, given that these guys, you know, are fucking throwing buildings on people and killing other folks. It's not like somebody's going to be sitting there going, oh, wow, I'm really going to miss that guy who was actually killing other people. What a terrible thing that you stopped this.
Right.
But that's true. I got to wonder what kind of toll it can take on Malcolm, you know, being that much blood on his hands.
Yeah, you're fucking yourself up, dude. It's going to be a mess.
I always thought it was bullshit, the whole hero that lets the villain just go and kill over and over and over again. In real life, everyone would hate the hero for that.
Yeah, it's like, come on. Could you step up here, Batman, and maybe take care of this guy for once? Because he's just kind of bad news. What the hell?
That's it.
I have money. Yeah,
well, I mean, it does kind of bring up the whole, you know, kind of makes sense to be a costume vigilante because, you know, that way you have a secret identity. No one knows who your family is. It can't take revenge. So Malcolm's got to deal with that. There's no way he could like hide with a mask on, you know. Definitely, you know, it's him. But
there's
it's tough.
Definitely something there. I mean, it's weird because on one hand I kind of go, well, in real life, people aren't sitting there going, well, I'm going to go rob a bank. I better make sure I kill all the cops first.
Right.
Nobody really...
Well, I mean, it's a comic book, and we understand that. But you have addressed that with Dragon. I mean, how many of his, you know, girlfriends or wives have been murdered or, you know, his family been messed with? I mean, it does happen.
And
Yeah.
and in the previous issue, Malcolm gets a ton of backlash by being, responsible for the death of a bunch of kids.
Right.
Yeah.
So they know where to find him. They know who he is, and he has to take the
That's
brunt
a-
of that.
Right.
Sorry.
Didn't mean for your kids to get killed.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of a dick move, really, in retrospect. But
So how much fun did you have with issue 194? Because it just looks at, I mean, with the whole, you did the twice up thing with this issue, but I mean, these spreads, the action in this issue, we were just blown away when we got our hands on it. I mean,
yeah,
this
no,
issue,
I actually, I actually love working that size, and hope to. Well, actually, I'm going to make the transition to that just being the way I work.
Really?
wow.
Just because paper that I've been working on has been not very good, and it's just been kind of a struggle every month to be fighting that. I can't do it constantly just because I'm traveling some, and can't sit in there. It's just physically too large to take with me. I would have to check it in my
Yeah,
luggage.
yeah.
That's a little riskier than I want to be with my life. I mean, really, it's like, oh, you lost your entire issue. Sorry.
Right.
Oh, we really apologize. Well, but but I want to get to that point where I actually just bought like enough paper for like 15 issues.
Nice.
So I got a stack of it, and when I'm doing issues at home and I'm gonna sit there and do it that size because it's just better in general. I mean, there's a double page spread that was in the next issue that was actually drawn a little bigger than my normal double page spreads were.
In 196?
Yeah, 196, the double page spread that's in there is
We've seen that. It's amazing. We've got the advance.
So,
I know Adam Pruitt, I think, was talked to you. He had talked to you, and you'd given them the okay to give us advance copies for the FINcast. Hopefully you did. He said you did.
I actually meant in 195. 195. The double page spread that's there with Malcolm and Dart. It's like that was actually bigger. Somewhat, not crazy big, but it was somewhat bigger. It was on the bigger paper. I like doing double page spreads on one sheet, for crying out loud. I mean, that works out. That's nice.
Yeah.
Got to be more natural. Didn't you say you were taping together the pages or something previously?
Yeah, I had been, and it's like, well, that's fun and all, but it kind of sucks. At the same time, it kind of does bite.
Then there's the scan and stitch you have to do, right?
I got to do that anyway. That's the one kind of detriment about doing it big is that you have to scan and you have to stitch it. There's just
no scanner is big enough.
My scanner isn't big enough. It's not that. There probably are scanners that are that big. I'm not going to buy one just because I'm just a cheap guy. Don't judge me. And so I don't have one that's that big. I don't have access to one that's that big. So I'm gonna have to stitch this stuff together somehow, one way or another. And when I did the twice up issue, every page required at least 3, if not 4 scans. But Photoshop has something in it that makes it so you can stitch things together easily.
Oh.
So
yeah.
It's really not a big deal. But when it gets to be a big deal is when you're doing double page spreads, because it's tough to get every piece of it because there's a middle piece there that the scanner just doesn't want to reach. And so you have to take the lid off the thing and move stuff around. It's like, holy crap, this is an ordeal. but whatever.
Can you at least do it in 2 halves, or you got to do it like in quarters?
You got to do it in kind of quarters.
Ugh.
Actually, a double page spread is like 8 scans.
Yikes.
Ugh.
And you got to make sure it's square, or else they won't line up.
It'll adjust that. It'll actually adjust things a little bit. I mean, and then you gotta make sure it doesn't completely suck too, because there'll be times where I scanned it all in, it lines it up, and then you look at it and go, wait a minute, there's a weird jag going on there. It made an assumption that was completely wrong.
Oh.
And it really works best if there's a lot of overlap.
Right.
Which is why I'm scanning it as many times as I am, because I could scan the top and bottom and then just manually stitch that together, because there would be just a 1/4 inch or something of overlap. But it's just better if you just do it in 4 pieces, and scanning's not a big deal anyway. So
I want to say print shops can scan 36-inch wide by however long you have.
yeah, but then I have to go to a print shop.
Yeah.
And when I'm doing my book, I'm doing it page at a time and scanning it and sending it off to Nikos to color.
Oh.
So it's like page by page by page, it's going off to those guys. And if I'm sitting there going, oh, now I have to go to the print shop 20 times.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't make life easy.
It'd be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it would be a pain in the ass. So it's like, or I could use this program which is made to do this, and it's right here on my computer in front of my face. I'll do that.
Well, I mean, it seems like you're, 20 years into this book, it's like you're always kind of constantly tweaking things and moving things around. Now you're talking about doing the twice up. You switched colors a couple of times and letters. Now you're back to the digital. Oh, you're not back, but you're to the digital lettering.
Yeah.
Back with Chris, but it seems like it's all kind of come together now. Like it seems like you've found that kind of coloring style that you've liked, because it's kind of stuck around. Chris's digital letterings seem to have kind of fit in pretty well now with the sound effects. Yeah. It's all looking pretty organic. Are you at a point now where you're pretty happy with the way the book looks?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it comes and goes. I mean, I'm sitting there doing this issue now. It will probably be my last small board issue. I mean, it's conceivable that there'll be more later on down the road if I'm traveling a lot, but I'm looking at this now as the last one, and it's kind of going, yeah, working this small, it's not what it ought to be. Because when you work at a bigger size, it's just, you can just do stuff that you can't do ordinarily.
Right.
Whatever.
Did you do 196 twice up, or any like that spread on that?
Yeah, that whole issue's twice up.
Yeah, you can tell. I think now knowing like with 194, you can kind of tell, especially on the double like the full spreads,
Yeah, no, it's just suddenly you go, there's some tiny freaking lines on here that are so itty bitty. How the hell did you do that? And then yeah, the double page spreads, you just go, I got all this space. Woo!
Well, they look amazing. I mean, by the time this FINcast is live, 196 will be out. But that spread where Malcolm's energies, his electric powers are just blowing up the place, and the chains are whipping around. I mean, it's got so much like motion, like fluidity to it. It just looks incredible.
That shit is sick.
Yeah,
sick. The building all like off in the background. That is sick.
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of like that one.
Do you ever just finish an issue and just say, "Wow, I just hit it out of the ballpark with this"? Or you just know that.
I definitely the twice up stuff. I just get more jazzed about it. Than the other, because it's like, yeah, there's fine. But when you're sitting there doing this stuff and it's freaking huge, it just I guess plays to my strengths, and I'm able to do more with it than I could otherwise. So.
I mean, I could tell you as a reader, 193, to be honest, I wasn't a big fan of. 194 came, and then I was like a little disappointed. I was like, oh, new direction. I didn't really like 193 that much. 194 came around, blew my socks off, and blew everyone, away on in the FINcast, because I know
I still can't find my socks.
Yeah. 190. We just read 196, and we all like collectively were emailing each other, being like, "Holy crap! Like that was really amazing." You want
to talk about owning an issue? See, the thing is that I have seen people being like, "This isn't what I signed up for," and I'm just like, "What did you sign up for?" Because this book constantly changes, for one, and for two, if you're reading it, it is kicking ass. You can't read that issue and not think it kicked ass.
Wait, you talking about 196?
Yeah.
Yeah, top to bottom, Eric. Bravo. I mean, we super enjoyed it. I mean, it's got everything you want in Savage Dragon. I mean, you see in Malcolm in different states of being maimed and messed up, but he just looks cool as hell. You got Vicious Circle and, full effect, ripping buildings apart, chasing people away.
That whole wrecking ball sequence, I was like, that's a win.
Yeah, amazing fight scenes. That
ugly fat dude.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Hilarious. Just hilarious.
Yeah, no, that's one of the when I talked about, I could not keep that guy consistent at all. I was just in fact, there was a panel that I ended up using twice just because I was like, I can't draw this guy the same from panel to panel. Ended up making a couple copies of him, different size of his face, different sizes, so I could just painstakingly trace them off, because it was like, I can't do it. I pieces of him are sliding around. His ears are getting moving, and his face. It's like, fuck.
I thought that was part of his condition, is that he was
fat,
but
20 chins.
I think I look at him from the side and go, quite look like the same guy that you looked like from the front. I don't know. This is so. Anyway, he had to go.
So he is the guy who had to die.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna have another blog post
because I couldn't draw consistently, and it's like, sorry. I would have loved to have kept him around if I was able to make him look the same from panel to panel. Sorry.
It was really just an amazing issue, though. I mean, I think it's something great for new fans. For old fans, you have the little nods to things like the Uglies Unlimited and seeing some old Vicious Circle guys coming back around.
All the Rogue Warrior.
Yeah.
I'm always a fan when the cover is actually somehow part of the book. That's always a winner to me.
Yeah, that was neat. That definitely was neat.
Whew. I know. I was like, how am I going to work this cover in? It was, and I'm happy that the next issue, it's like, I'm already satisfied my next issue thing because I ended with Malcolm being all screwed up. So awesome.
It seems like there's some of these newer Vicious Circle people that we're starting to see more and more becoming kind of like, I don't know, they're just the new wave, that they're not just throwaway guys. Like we're seeing like that Pucker guy, or the Victorious villain with the big kind of V head, and Samurai, and they just start, Bug Lady. I mean, they seem like they're a couple of your favorites from the newer group, and it's kind of cool to see them reoccurring. And then I noticed there's that one kind of villain. It kind of looks like the one that has like the metal dreadlocks. She looks like the one that was from your Amazing Spider-Man days. And I don't think, is that the first time you've drawn her?
Yeah.
She's pretty good looking.
Yeah, we'll see if I can figure something out with her.
She's got a Barda, big Barda kind of look.
Yeah, I know. I like that. It's like, is this, am I pushing it too far in terms of making characters look too much like?
Nah.
But I do like that metal kind of dreads look. You're the only artist.
I like that too. It's like that's something I haven't seen other people do. But
when you did the female Furies, was that what they were called from Amazing Spider-Man?
They were
something
called the
like
Femme Fatales.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Not my name, but
But that was an awesome like group of supervillains. Like it was so neat. Like and then you kind of have like the Vane and Savage Dragon that kind of and now this one, but
yeah.
Cool group of characters. You're always good at making great visuals.
I don't know if I'm reading too much into it, but it seems like there's more female characters predominant in the Vicious Circle right now. Is that subconscious or conscious? Because
I think that's sort of a Dart thing.
Yeah.
Where she's like, I want to be surrounded by like-minded people.
That's what I was thinking.
People who are really in her corner. That that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's
Speaking
a cool
of-
touch. I hadn't noticed.
Have you heard anything more about the Dart statue?
Not only have I heard it, I've seen it.
Ooh.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen the physical thing, but I've seen pictures of it.
That's from Claymore Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
So it's pretty much finished and ready to go into production, or?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe that's what we're talking about.
Nice.
Awesome.
I remember the last time we talked about that, there was talk of like a silver variant. Was there any talk about that?
I don't remember. So yeah, I can't say with absolute certainty what goes on there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's funny. I did notice and the past couple issues too, that it seems like the book's taken more of like, not violent, but almost gory shots. Like, and it's not something you haven't done before. It just seems like we're seeing a little more of it, like with Assassin's face kind of getting just blown off by the ball and chain and stuff. Is that a conscious decision to kind of go in that direction with the new direction, or is this just...
It's just kind of the way the book is, know. I think some part of it is maybe me just kind of going, because he's a teenager. People make the assumption, oh, this book's for kids now, and it's like, no, it's not. For kids. It's kind of coming back and just saying, look, it's just because it's starring somebody who's 17 years old doesn't mean that I've gone soft, sort of thing.
Right.
So take that.
I feel like it's always ultra violence has always been a part of Savage Dragon. I feel so it doesn't feel out of place or anything.
No, not at all.
Well, good.
It's why I read. Damn it! No.
You guys remember back during what the Fantastic Four era, and everyone was complaining about how it was kind of like non-violent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was just weird back then. I reread that recently, and it's actually more violent than I recalled.
Until they got to the scene where like Alex stabbing the crap out of what was the purple guy's name?
The Lummox.
The Lummox, yeah. Then it was like, oh yeah, we're not kid friendly anymore.
Hey, remember this?
Kirkman was talking about shifting tones in comics because people were like, Invincible's not a family book anymore. Well, he said fuck at the end of an issue. And I can't believe
that. And then
that's
his character got raped, right?
Yeah, and everybody was like, "Oh!" And Kirkman did a thing where he's like, "Well, tones can change in comics, And I was like, I don't get why that's a strange concept for people.
Yeah, and it's not like Invincible hasn't been a kid-friendly book since like issue 6.
But I'm just saying, like, even if Dragon wants to have a family period, it's not like it's like, oh, well, there goes the violence. It's like it could easily come back.
And it did.
Yeah.
And it's weird. It's weird the way people just want to jump off the rails on shit like that.
I just think people can't handle the difference between a mainstream Marvel DC comic and an independent comic. They just don't know how to handle that. The creator
Have
of
you
the
guys seen
cartoons
the
can do what he wants.
meltdown about Batgirl's new costume or Thor being a woman?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to deal with. Why is there a meltdown on Batgirl's new costume?
She's got a new hipster look. I'm making quote fingers with my hands.
I thought it looked fine, but
yeah, I
mean,
liked it.
In terms of like the Thor and Captain America being African American,
Falcon's Captain.
it's like really, who cares? Like,
This stuff
like everybody, I've
time.
seen so many other people. It's change. If you don't read Marvel, if you read Marvel comics, it's going to always change and just always come back.
At this point, yeah. I mean, it's like, I'm about as upset about that as I am about Superman being dead and Batman's back being broken.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do people forget?
Those permanent changes have really affected my life a whole lot.
I mean, I guess people forget about Storm as Thor.
That it's like Charlie Brown being surprised that the football is being pulled away. It's like, what is wrong with you fans that you will see this and go, oh my God, this time it's real. This time it's like, come on.
Never mind the 5 other guys who have been Captain America or the 5 other people who have been Thor.
Yeah.
10 other times they've all died.
Yeah.
It's like Wolverine's going to die.
Thor characters that have been throughout the book, either in What If or in Universe X or in the Thor comic itself, where there was some Thor girl that was running around.
Yeah, her name was
Storm.
Thor
was
Girl.
Thor for a while, wasn't she? Or at least held the hammer.
She did, I think.
He was a frog, and whatever. I mean,
what blows my lid is that I've even seen people who think that Archie is really going to be dead and gone, and it's like, guys,
and all these people didn't even care about Archie anyway.
Archie's suddenly gotten cool. It's kind of funny.
It freaks me out because it's like people want to have a big vocal opinion, but they don't even care enough to realize that, like, Life with Archie, finger quotes, is a what if book.
Right.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter.
They don't understand the context. They're just knee-jerking about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't get
it. Good times.
I don't get why people don't, like, how I just am amazed that people are still surprised and shocked after all these years.
Well, there you go.
It's just the same old shit. That's all.
I know.
Yeah, I don't think they're shocked. I think people generally just like to bitch and moan. Honestly.
They do. It's a human condition.
You would think they would just move on from Marvel Comics and try something else then if they were,
I have an excellent suggestion.
Well, that's funny. It's because, like, a guy said somebody was running their mouth about things never changing, and I was like, you should read Savage Dragon. It has exactly what you're talking about. And I got, like, liked once. And I was like...
That book's too pretentious, right?
Yeah, it's so pretentious.
It's exactly what I think of.
That's the word that comes to mind for me.
You were drinking red wine in France.
Well, I was drinking red wine in France, yeah.
Pretty hoity-toity.
It is.
So, Craig, you said you had a few Facebook or Twitter questions for Eric?
Yeah, I can throw those in now. If you don't mind, Eric. There's a few listener questions.
Okay.
Simon Millett asked, I'd like to know if Eric has plans in doing another issue with issue 10 and 92's art style, which I'd love to color, by the way. And I guess he's referring to, like, the real dark inks, like almost like the Frank Miller, I want to say, type. Is that what those were?
It's weird that at the time I was thinking I was doing Mike Mignola.
Oh, really?
It's like, wow, I'm failing so spectacularly.
I don't know. You said what? What issues?
It was
issue 10 and 92. 10 was it Jimbo, right?
Yeah.
And 92 is the vicious circle on the cover.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I love that issue. Yeah, that's definitely more Mike
issue.
Mignola to me than Frank Miller.
Yeah. I think I'm just saying because he's got the real dark tones.
Yeah. Am I ever? Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, it really is going to depend on the story itself and what I want to do, and there are limitations to all this stuff. Trying different experiments. So, some of it is me going, let me try this out and see how it works. Oh well, look at this. I can't do this series of things because of this art style that I've chosen. When I'm doing the 20 panel a page thing, it's like you realize, nothing has any scope at all. I can never really establish any kind of environment because you have this tiny little panel. No, not to do that again, and you just kind of move on from there. When you're doing the harsh black and white stuff, there are things there where you go, it's you're not really showing any kind of texture. The art can look kind of simple. you got to compose things well so that everything kind of works. But even so, there's reasons that most guys who try that stuff kind of go, all right, moving on. Let's try something else next issue. So I don't know. Will I do it again? I can't say with absolute certainty. It just depends on the kind of story that I want to tell.
Gotcha. We had another question from Michelle Fife, who said, and I don't know if I feel bad because I don't. I hope he'll write me and tell me I'm pronouncing his name right. I hope I am. It's really hard to say.
Somewhere in his apartment's a dartboard with your face on it.
Yeah, I know. And I love his work so much, so
I'm not going to
forgive me because you don't know either.
It's like one of those things where you introduce yourself and you go, I should totally remember that, and then you totally don't.
Well, we interviewed him and he was just like, oh, it's fine. Some people call me this, some people whatever you want to call me. It's like, oh, well, what do you call yourself? But anyway, sorry, Mitchell. He writes, was Erik a fan of the bands in Doom Patrol's Mohawk Dude's room? I guess he's talking about the dude Karma with the Mohawk from Doom Patrol. There's a scene where he's holding up some records or something with the Butthole Surfers and Throbbing Gristle and some other bands. So where did that come from? Was that the editor or the writer?
Not really. I knew a girl who's totally into that kind of music, and so I knew the band names and stuff like that. But that's not generally the kind of stuff that I'm into.
Well, there you go.
What are you?
Great information.
Short answer.
So as we we're getting into like an hour here, as we wrap up, I wanted to see if you could maybe give us a hint into some of the status of issue 200. I'll tell you what we know, and you tell us if you could let us know anything else or tell us if we're wrong. From what we know is that it's 100 pages at $10, $9.99. We know Chris Burnham, who's done Officer Down and Batman Incorporated, he drew a backup story that you wrote about Dimension X and I guess Glum.
Yeah.
And then a relative newcomer, Travis Sengaus, is also penciling a backup story.
He penciled and inked one, and it's about Malcolm joining the football team. He wanted to draw Malcolm joining the football team, so it's like, all right, I'll write you a story about that.
Sweet. Any other information you can give?
I'm working with Herb Trimpe on 2 stories. They're both 8 pages. He's penciling one and I'm inking it, and I'm penciling one and he's inking it. So
awesome.
that'll be kind of. I mean, I don't know if people are. I'm totally into this guy or whatever, but it's just here's a guy whose work I knew from forever ago, and it was just kind of a pleasure to be able to work with a guy.
That's awesome.
So there's that. Dragon proper will be in the story and so it'll be Dragon and Malcolm will be in issue 200 together. So Dragon will find himself out of jail one way or another, and the vicious circle comes gunning for him, and Malcolm needs to protect his dad from the forces of evil, kind of thing.
Sweet.
So that's kind of the major big thing that's going on. Also, Nikos is drawing a backup story as well, and that is a SOS / Angel Daredevil kind of story. So
Sweet.
It's got stuff in it.
Anything with Gary or Frank?
I'm sure there will be. Gary and Frank are doing a Vanguard story, which starts up next issue, actually. So,
oh yes.
So beginning with 197, there is another Vanguard serial which starts in 197 and I think ends in 200. So that'll be like the big like finale, I think. And if not, then it's like, oh, there's more of it. What a shame. No, I mean it'll be awesome if there's more. And
right. Man, super stoked about that. I mean, the last serial with Vanguard, they just hit it out of the park, man. That was so enjoyable.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I love their stuff, and any opportunity to have them do more, yes.
Sweet.
Scott, James, and Gavin.
Well, theirs got bumped up, right? Something like that, or
yeah, I think that may end up being. I mean, I got to make at some point I got to make a flow chart to figure out how many pages I've actually got that are accounted for and how many.
100, 200. It's okay. We'll take it.
Well, I mean, it should fit. I got to do this somewhat sanely. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a cool book. So
wow, exciting stuff.
And then I stopped doing these 100 pages just because they're just a pain in the ass. I don't know that 250 is going to be that, because it's like, come on, what the hell? How do you keep doing this to yourself? It's like herding cats, getting us all grouped together.
Working with artists.
It's just easier when it's just you and you don't have to worry about this and that.
Right. The tiniest little bit of I had to try and beg favors off of all my art buddies for my book, and I was just it was just so time consuming emailing people and herding cats. That is perfect.
Well, I think you're a glutton for punishment, though, Eric, because every time you say this, you do next issue projects and Treasury edition anthologies and another 100-page thing. Image United.
It's the thing is because I like it,
Yeah, I know.
Oh, this is a cool book. Look how big it is. Look how many pages are in here. Look at this. Look at that. And it's like when the end result is awesome. This giant-sized Kung Fu Bible stories, once I actually have it in my hand, it's like, this is so cool. But it's getting all those people to do the stuff they need to do in order to get this done.
And do your own, Savage Dragon comic.
Like last month, I did 2 issues because I had to. I did this, I inked the story for Giant-Sized Kung Fu Bible Stories, and then I did an issue of Dragon, and it's like, that's a lot of pages to come through here in fairly rapid succession.
I did notice this issue seemed to come together quicker off the heels of the last issue.
Yeah. No complaints, right?
No.
Nope.
And I think it's good for the new direction just to keep them.
Yeah, no, I'm trying really, and this issue that I'm working on now, it's like this is a nightmare just because I've been traveling so much.
Right.
Yeah.
But it is better for the book in the long run if I can get it to come out on a more regular basis. So
yeah,
I am trying.
Is there any new comics coming out that you're excited about? I saw that ad for Night World from Image. Have you seen anything, or you have anything to do with?
I've seen all 4 issues. Yeah, it's nice looking book.
Yeah.
And
like a real Kirby vibe.
Yeah, sign me up for some of that.
I'm curious if you have any interest at all in that new Warren Ellis Supreme book.
I will I'll get it. It'll be in my house at some point because I'm down for I get the Image comp list, but I really have a tough time reading things that pick up on stuff that or don't pick up on stuff that I did. It was like when I got off Doom Patrol, I didn't read Doom Patrol for years. When I got off Amazing Spider-Man, I just stopped reading Spider-Man for the longest.
I don't know, some of the teasers for that book almost feel like maybe your run won't be completely forgotten.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it seems like Ethan Crane's missing, and what you did at the end of your series, it kind of, I don't know, I've got a hunch that maybe it's not, maybe it'll tie in somehow.
I would guess that they would. It just seems like, why would you do that to yourself? I mean, I think they kind of looked at what books have been successful that have been the Liefeld books, and you can go, well, Prophet's the one that people seem to really give a shit about, and that's the one that's the farthest from what Rob was doing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just I'm doing something else entirely.
Yeah, and this
And-
Ellis
and
book looks
I think
pretty far
just
away.
They're probably following that as screw it, we'll just do our own thing, and if somebody likes it, awesome, and if they don't, oh well.
Yeah, and sometimes I think that's the kind of attitude these, creators or cartoonists have to have. Like, Brandon Graham is outstanding. I love his attitude towards things. I love his, no bullshit. In some ways, it reminds me of how your take is on a lot of things, and I thought it was cool with Prophet, him trying all different styles, getting different people involved, and just going in a whole different direction. I think that's part of why that book has been, a critical hit. I don't know if it's got the sales.
Not so
but
much the sales, I
definitely.
don't believe, and it's actually been
It's
lagging
it's
lately.
it's sold well enough that it was able to continue.
Yeah.
Whereas Supreme wasn't doing that, and all the other Liefeld books went away. So
Yeah.
hey, something was working okay.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's definitely interesting. It's definitely not a lot of the same old, and I like to see that once, here and there.
Agreed. Yeah, new stuff. Try it.
Yeah.
Do something cool. Whatever. It's like I get. We can do anything, and so often we don't do anything, and that
That's very profound.
bothers me more than anything. It's just a pain in the ass. It's like, come on, guys. There's an unlimited amount. Just the thought that you're going to turn the page and you expect something is going to happen, and it's what you expect. That happens so much in comics and so much in movies where you're just like, yeah, I know where this is going. Well, what do you know? I'm completely right. And it's like, that shouldn't be the case. You can do absolutely anything on the next page. Why are you doing the one thing that we kind of are anticipating?
Yeah. I think
like
go ahead. Sorry.
Oh
Red.
no, go man, go.
I was just gonna say, I think cartoonists, and I'm really happy to see like Tom Sholey start to get a lot of kind of press, and it seems like in this past couple of years, a lot of kind of the alternative guys they have an alternative style, but they're still doing kind of like mainstream superhero or cosmic stuff, like Sholey, him getting that gig on G.I. Joe and Transformers. Personally, I have no interest in G.I. Joe.
Did you read the Free Comic Day issue?
Yeah, but I'm saying you put Sholey on a book like that, and it's like, wow, I want to buy this. I want to know more. I want to look at this art. I want to see the crazy things that he's going to do that, everyone else has got to make G.I. Joe realistic or make it, something like a movie. He's going to take it and just make it like you're playing with the toys and doing whatever you want and just make it crazy and fun, and it's cool to see him get more opportunities to do that. It's cool to see a guy like James Stokoe get thrown an Avengers book one shot and see him go wild with it. This past year I've just seen a lot of things like that are like, it's making me happy with the way the industry is kind of pulling these type of people in. Sorry, that was my 2 cents.
Well, I think at this point, they're like, well, nothing else is working, so what else can we do?
Well, that's true.
I don't know. I think the audience is starting to shift a little. The younger audience is starting to get growing up, and they're kind of in for the more zany type off, not predictable, I guess, sort of material.
But I think young kids are too, or not young kids, but younger people are too. I think for some reason, a segment of the readership got stuck in this, let's try to be as realistic as possible and, make stories where guys don't dress up in costumes and stuff. And it seems like we're getting back to the way it should be, hopefully. But
Good.
The My Little Pony and Adventure Time kids are growing up.
Well, I don't know. It's just like with mainstream comics for so long, it felt to me like it was fan fiction of fan fiction. So like you had guys that when you say you turn a page and it's something you completely expect, it's because these guys like grew up on Batman, then started writing Batman, so they're just giving you more Batman.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of like when you get these people who don't know a damn thing about this stuff because it's just not part of their life. I mean, I don't know. There's a chance for something cool and new to happen there.
Mhm.
Yay, more of that.
So yeah, well,
It's all good.
we've been kind of talking for over an hour
Oh,
now.
yeah.
I don't know if you guys had any kind of last questions for Eric, but he's I want to thank you, Eric, for
Sure.
spending some time with us and answering all our questions as
And all of our tangents.
crazy as they were, entertaining us.
Regaling us of tales of Europe.
But yeah,
That was just fun. I'm just glad that adventure kind of went off without a hitch, because that could have gone very wrong. I'm just sitting here getting off an airplane expecting somebody to be there and having no idea where I'm supposed to be. It's
Yeah.
this could be a disaster.
Right.
Turns out there's no convention in this town. I'm gonna be pissed.
especially in the countries where English isn't the language.
Something likely to happen again.
What? Yeah. Actually, I liked it a lot. So, if I can do a tour through France and just have it be, in different towns and different comics shops and stuff like that, it's like, sign me up for some of that.
Yeah.
I know that they've got that different, bigger shows that are more comic book oriented in many of those countries, and it's like, yeah, I don't mind that. I wouldn't mind going there.
Right.
So, yeah, all about that.
Go to Greece and meet up with your colorists.
Yeah, well, there's all sorts of countries that I've never been to before, and
Yeah.
when these opportunities arise, it's like, why the hell not?
Hey, are you finding that now that you can get comics digitally pretty easily, like with Comixology and stuff, that the foreign readers have more access to Savage Dragon and that's how they're reading it? I mean, I know one guy wrote, I wish that they published Savage Dragon in Spain again. Do they have access, or do you know, or do you know what your sales are overseas? Or
I have no idea where people are or where they're coming from. So, I have no idea.
yeah.
I just don't have that. I'm sorry.
I know, like I've said the story before, like years ago. I think it was like the Savage. I forget which issue. The one with Carrie and Bush on the cover.
Yeah.
I was in Japan when that came out, and I had to go track down and find like an American comic book store so I could get my Savage Dragon fix. But if it was nowadays, it's like, well, just punch it right up on my iPhone.
Yeah, no, those things are great. The bad part about all those things is that there's no comics you can get signed.
Yeah.
Because it's like that's part of the experience is meeting the actual guy and just getting book signed or getting something.
I don't know. I'm personally just as content to get a sketch in a sketchbook with a signature. But I guess it's just me.
But it's a lot more expensive to get a sketch than just
it can be. Yeah, certainly. This is just. It's a lot of work too for crying out loud. And really, there's just a limited amount of time that any of these guys have to be able to do stuff. And if it's full-blown commissions, it's like, when I'm looking at it, it's like there are 10 to 12 people who are going to be able to get that over the course of a day. And that's not a lot of people, really, considering how many people read this stuff. Sorry, but I could sign a shit ton of comics in that amount of time, so.
Right.
Yeah, it's a good point. I get you.
Well, good. Well, thanks for your time again.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. It's always a good time to have you.
Thanks, guys.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one. That's how it always is. It's like,
hey, are you doing any conventions on the East Coast at all this year?
Probably New York Comic Con.
Okay. How about Baltimore? No.
They gotta pester me about it. It's really it always has
we'll
to
pester them.
It has to come from the convention itself.
Yeah, I hear that.
I generally don't chase people down and say, I want to go to your convention, please invite me. It's like, man, I don't really It just kind of feels undignified to do that.
Right.
I got enough issues as it is. Just to have somebody being like, "No, you are unworthy of our show." I'm like, fuck, I don't want to deal with that.
You're not on the Wizard top 50 list this year.
Wizard did give me actually was like, any of our shows you want to go to, and they just sent me a list, but it's like
Wizard still exists.
Wizard exists as a convention thing.
Yeah.
So they do exist, but it's not, a magazine. I don't know if they still have a site.
Garrett Seamus followed me on Twitter, so it's weird, right? I don't know.
Yeah, that's just
he's out there.
If you came to Philly, I would totally go, but I tend to not enjoy the Wizard Philly convention. It's more about wrestlers and weird stuff than comics. And every year it seems to shrink.
I mean, is there a regular Philadelphia show at this point, or is it?
No, not really. There's the Philadelphia Wizard Philadelphia, and then there's a couple of smaller ones where like Herb Trimpe might show up, or someone might come down from New York, but they're the real like kind of generic ones, small ones. And then everyone goes to Baltimore because it's only like an hour and a half away, and that's like hands down my favorite con because it's just about the comics.
Do one of these Pittsburgh cons, and you can meet Tom Scioli, Jim Rugg, Ed Piskor. Just hang out with that Pittsburgh comic crew.
Well,
actually, Tom Scioli's in Philly tonight doing signings with what's the other guy that's got kind of a Kirby vibe?
Those guys, they travel a lot. So luckily, I've got to run into them.
It's Scioli and the guy who, what's his name? The guy who just did the Fox comic. He's got that kind of Kirby Bruce Timmish.
Oh yeah, Dean Haskell.
Yeah, I like his stuff too. I might try to make it out there tonight, but
yeah, he's just a kind of a fun guy to hang around. Actually,
yeah, I've met him a few times at conventions. Always a nice guy.
Yeah, he's like one of those guys you go, this guy is just always happy. Something's going all right for this guy. And that's the kind of people you want to be around,
Yeah.
It's just happy, positive people who are just making shit happen. And it's like, fuck yeah, I want to be a part of that.
Cool.
Well,
we'll try to end it this time. Sorry, we keep asking.
More false ending.
It's
like Lord of the Rings.
Just gonna have to hang up on us now.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna go. I've had enough.
More wine, quickly.
Thanks for your time, Eric.
All right. Talk to you
later.
All right. Bye.
Yep.
Once again, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us, Eric. We super appreciate it. Always a pleasure, and we know the listeners always super appreciate it.
Man, that interview, boy, are my arms tired.
All those air quotes and everything.
It was relentless bombshell after relentless bombshell.
I loved all that information he gave about 200, though, and the coming up Vanguard backups and stuff. It's exciting. Yeah, good stuff.
I even feel like the Kung Fu Bible info we got was just like scooperoo.
Yeah.
The Scooby-Doo story, guys.
Yeah, geez, we've only been waiting ages.
Just think, ages of wait, and he knocked it out in a month.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
It's all about having the proper venue.
Shall we look to the future?
Let's look to the future.
Let's.
Savage Dragon 197. Malcolm Dragon is transformed into a hideous freak as he faces his greatest menace yet, a deadly virus that turns average people into mindless monsters. Get ready for a whole new Savage Dragon.
Something I didn't bring up during the interview about this is that I was wondering about is I was curious why the Belco chemicals even affect Malcolm. Because of because of healing abilities.
I'm going to assume, just a guess, that much like, mind control affects Dragon for a little bit,
right,
then wears off.
Probably a similar situation. He hasn't built up an immunity yet.
Gonna guess.
Maybe he'll slowly turn back. His immune system will fight it off by the end of the episode or something.
Yeah, that sounds practical. I don't know. It made more sense when She-Dragon got mutated, because she doesn't have any of Dragon's actual abilities.
Plus, in this instance, it's a chemical reaction.
Yeah.
And you remember the beginning of the issue, he's being told that he has been drinking water. They were like, oh, we gave you water. We gave you a place to stay. So he's been drinking water, obviously, you know,
for a while.
Recuperating. So he's been ingesting this chemical for some bit. So even if the all-healing factor was doing good, I mean, you keep dumping more on it, you're bound to have a reaction.
And the same point, his healing factor is going into overdrive, recovering for all the third-degree burns he has.
Good point. Maybe it's just fatigued.
Good point. I hadn't thought of that. We justified it. We're good.
Yeah.
We're good, baby.
I'm interested to see how he kind of treats it, that it's, you know, to make it different than the issue where it happened to She-Dragon, because obviously he's not going to, you know, try the same trick or do the same thing, you know.
Let's just hope he doesn't rip Maxine and Frank Jr. in half.
Oh, God, no. Please, no, Maxine. Hang in there, girl. You got to hide.
Well, cool. Well, I think it was a...
You guys picked up that Frank Jr. was there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, as the police officer?
Yeah, it took me a second. It took a second read for me to catch that.
Yeah. Yep.
Subtle, but nice.
Yep. Yeah, it was good stuff.
Yeah.
And, we skipped on, you know, we talked about issue 196, you know, in some good amount of detail with Eric, and we didn't really talk about the backup story.
Oh.
But, you know, with... Gotta
dedicate a whole
keep time in mind.
And my love of Neutron Bob.
Yeah. We're really excited about it. We're not snubbing it. I think we'll talk about it on the next episode.
Yeah.
I even had a Twisted Funny I wanted to praise, but next episode.
Sounds good.
Well, thanks for listening.
It's been great. Talk to you later. All right, see ya.
Recording done.
The Savage FINcast is hosted by the Gutter Trash Podcast Network, which can be found at guttertrash.net. The Savage FINcast is proud to be members of the Comic Addiction family of podcasts and the Comics Podcast Network, which can be found at comicaddiction.net and comicspodcast.com.